Meow everybody, this is FrostKittyPaw. In this short video I'm going to show you how to change the default eye expression of the cat, Cat V2. So with Cat V2 compared to Cat 1, by default the eyebrows are a little bit lower, and you can't see it now, but when you go in game, the eyes will close a little bit, so this top of the eyelid here will be covering a little bit of the top of the eye. So I'll show you how to change that, as well as how to change the height of the eyebrows. So the easiest one to change is the eyebrow. So if we go into the inspector on the left side and go to open up the avatar, little arrow here, and then go to the body object. On the right will be the inspector, and under the skin meshes we'll have a bunch of different options, but the main one is blend shapes. You want to open the blend shapes. This will be all the blend shapes for the avatar. If you've previously been doing some customization on the body using these, you'll see them here. But don't get too scared. The ones that we're looking for are all the way down under extra face tracking. For the most part, extra face tracking isn't currently being used by the Animator and VR chat for these avatars. This is our future proofing to help add in additional tracking if systems ever properly track them. But since it wasn't being used, by default I went ahead and turned on the brow down lower left and the brow down right. I set those to 42. If you want to make the eyebrows higher, you just turn these values back to like 0 or wherever you want them, and they'll be shown on the avatar. These aren't controlled by any animations, so any value you set here will stay in the game. So if you want the eyebrows really low, you can do that, or you can just leave them how they were, whatever makes sense to you. And the other part is the eyes, which you only see in-game. So to do that, we'll go back up to the avatar, and then on the inspector, we'll look for the VRC avatar descriptor. This has a bunch of information for how VR chat runs the avatar. The important part to us is down here under playable layers, the FX layer, the effects layer. This is what matters the most. This controls all the expressions on the avatar, as well as a lot of the clothing changes and other things. The two other layers, if you're curious, the gesture layer controls a lot of like the bone movements, like how the ears and the tail move. And then the action layer is that sitting and laying down layer. If you have any issues with the sitting down, breaking chairs, or anything like that, you could just remove this layer. Just a heads up there. But what we really care about for this video is the effects layer. So if we just click on it, it'll show us down here in the project view where it is. And we just click on it, and right down here it'll say what we have selected, which is assets / animations / the effects for this avatar. And then I have it up here as a tab, but if you don't have it up here as a tab, you can go to Window, Animation, Animator, and it'll pull up this. This is a large mess of how the avatar works. Each one of these spots here is a layer for different animations. So the base is just empty. That VR chat requires that. Blinking drives the blinking of the avatar. There's no real animation here. This is just changing the different parameters, so it just automatically blinks in a natural way. And then a bunch of other stuff for controlling actual gestures and stuff. So for this, we want to control how the eyes look, so we're going to go to left hand eyes. This is the left hand gestures that control your eye movements. And then so we have, it splits off based on the gesture. So enters in, comes here, chooses where it wants to go for playing animations. This is basically a logic setup, just saying, hey, this is what the game is doing. Where do I want to go to figure out what I'm going to play? So from here, it figures out the left gesture. So this is the default face, which corresponds to left gesture equaling 0. All these other numbers are for like open surprised eyes, or like point and it's angry and stuff like that. So the left gesture is the one we care about, or left gesture equals 0. And we double click onto what's called a submachine state here. So you may or may not have seen other avatar creators use this. It helps when it gets really cluttered. We just double click into this, and then it will bring us into what it's doing. So it came outside from this upper layer into here, and then it's going to decide, are the eyes open or blinking? This is how the blinking is a little more natural and there's no blink clipping, is because there's an individual blink state for every single animation. So it comes in, decides if it's blinking or not. So we want to look at when it's not blinking, when the eyes are, when it's just doing an idle, hands, and the eyes are open. That brings us to this animation. Another way, faster way to do this was we could have just gotten down this level of animation, or down these folders to this particular animation and changed it here. But this kind of shows you where to find it. So we want to change this animation. This controls how open the eyes are by default. So in here, it's using the expression, some expression blend shapes to change how closed the eye is. So by default, the eyes are being closed by 16%. If you want to change it to just fully open like it is here in the scene, we can just set these to 0. And for both keyframes, there's 2 keyframes in here, and there is 2 sets of values, one for the left eye, one for the right eye. So we just need to change these 4 values, and next time we upload our avatar, it'll look like this. If you want to preview what it looks like before you upload it, what I recommend is click on the avatar, right click on it, and duplicate it. Hide the original, and this one with the like quotation 1 on it. What we want to do is just drag the animation and plop it onto the avatar. The reason why I do this on a duplicate is it creates this extra animator that goes into this controller up here. This can do funky things when trying to upload VRChat avatars. So I just like making duplicates and throwing away the duplicate when I'm done making the animation. So we just put our animation on here, and then we go over to the animation tab. Like the animator, if the animation tab doesn't pop up, you can just go to animation, window, animation, or control 6 apparently. So now if we click record, notice, oh, the avatar disappears. But if we just move out a little bit and then do Alt middle mouse button, I don't know why it's on laptops, but Alt middle mouse button will help us move the camera down. You can see our avatars here in the what's called the motorcycle position. This is just what it looks like when it's animating. Only values that are actually being animated right here is just the eyes. So we can change the values, and we can now see them effects. So if you want your cat to look like really closed eyes all the time on idle, then you can do something like that. You can also change other blend shapes, but a lot of the other expression blend shapes are controlled elsewhere. If it's related to just eyes, though, it should be fine to control them in this animation, because the animator uses right default, so whenever it switches away from this animation, it'll just set all these values back to what they are here and kind of ignore them. But yeah, so this is what it looks by default, and then if you have it at 0, that's what it looked like. So you can see how it's kind of changed. The Cat V1 looked more like this because there was no animation there. But yeah, hopefully this helps. Meow. I almost forgot, but once you're done with your animation and changing it on this dummy avatar that we duplicated, you'll want to delete that avatar. Because if you have any broken avatars in your scene, sometimes they have to hit and it can cause some issues with uploading to VRChat. So just want to go ahead and delete that. Then on our old avatar, I'm going to go back over in the inspector and check it again to unhide it. And then this extra animator created in the same folder as animation, or wherever your active folder was at the time, you don't need this anymore, so if you want, you can always just delete it. All it is, if you look at it in the animator, it just has that single animation tied to an entry on a blank layer. So that's just how you allows you to edit it. But we can go ahead and delete that since we don't need it anymore. And then at this point, you should be able to upload again. Okay, hope that helps. Bye.